Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah. Yeah, it's your boy E-Man. Falcons Fandemic, we on that plan. All the hype in the city, let me break it down. Atlanta Falcons, wear the crown. Cruising down Peachtree in my Falcons gear. Pockets on the speakers, E-Man's here. Covering the news, all the buzz on the block. Fandemic family, yeah, we can't be stopped, yeah.
Welcome back, Fandemic Nation, to the Atlanta Falcons Fandemic. I'm your host, E-Man, and before we dive in, guys, I need everyone, everyone watching, everyone listening, to take a deep, cleansing breath with me. Guys, I heard all your stories today, and trust me, I feel your pain. I really do. But where do we find the answers, guys? Where do all roads lead to the Falcons' dilemma right now? Is it Arthur Blank? Of course not. He just owns the team. Is it Rich McKay? He just a bumbling, well, you know what he is up there in their front office. He's a paper trail guy. Although he may have some influence. And then you have Terry Fontenot, the unadulterated genius that put this team together. And then you come down to our head coach and his suitors, the guys that he has appointed to coach with him. Who's ultimately to blame? But guys, after this video, I'm going to do a follow-up video, and that's going to be the one you do not want to miss. It's going to talk about Raheem Morris and all of his problems and the dilemma with this team and the path that we're currently on. But guys, we're going to talk about this loss that we incurred with the New England Patriots. We went into Foxborough Week 9 against the surging Patriots, who were riding high on a 5-game win streak, with the whole world saying we didn't stand a chance. And you know what? We showed up. We fought. Drake London had a career day. We were right there, right there. And then the football gods, or maybe just the Patriots curse, stepped in and snatched our hearts right out of our chest. A 1-point loss, a game that should have been tied, a final desperation drive that sputtered out. We talk about the same old Falcons. Well, this one was a pitiful throwback. But the real gut-wrenching story isn't just the 24-23 final score. It is what we ultimately lost on that field. Chris Lindstrom, down. Matthew Bergeron, down. Leonard Floyd, down. We are now officially the walking wounded. Our foundational offensive line is in a disaster triage situation. Now, I hope Raheem Morris learns, no matter what you do, you cannot stop injuries. During the preseason, everybody talked about it, about Terry Fontenot not playing our players in the preseason. This ought to show him right now that it does not matter. But what does matter and will dictate your season is whether or not you establish some type of chemistry with your team, especially a new team like we have now, especially with the inexperienced first-year coordinators and coaching that we have going on right now. I don't know if you guys paid attention to one of my other videos where there were a lot of appointed positions as coaches. Ike Hilliard was one of them. TJ Yates was another one. And then you have DJ Williams. And you guys know DJ Williams. He's the quarterback's coach, son of Doug Williams. Now, these are all first-year guys in their position. Now, TJ Yates has been here, but he's new to his position. Then he got promoted again. And then you got Zach Robinson, first-year coordinator. Jimmy Lake, first-year defensive coordinator. And then Raheem himself, although he has been a head coach, he's relatively new to the head coaching position. So where's the experience and the chemistry? We was doomed from the beginning. But like I said, I got another video that's following this one you don't want to miss. Now, the football schedule doesn't care. We don't get a pity bye week. We get a transatlantic flight to Berlin, Germany, to face the 7-1 Indianapolis Colts. It does not get any easier. So today we're not just going to do a recap. We're doing a full-on state of the fandom address. We're breaking down the heartbreak, dissecting the game-losing intentional grounding call, and figuring out what the world Raheem Morris does when his entire front is in a cast. This segment is the kicker, injuries, and the crippling loss episode. Let's rise up and figure out where we go from here. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. It's going to be a rough ride, guys. But 1 point. That's it. 1 point. A single point separated a massive road upset from another soul-crushing, gut-wrenching collapse. To say the Falcons' 24-23 loss to the New England Patriots came down to just one missed kick, though, that's letting everyone off the hook. This wasn't about just one play. It was a slow, painful unraveling. It was a story of a defense that started out soft, a special teams blunder at the worst possible redemption, committed one final fatal error. We're going to break down every critical moment that led to this all too familiar heartbreak. This is the anatomy of that collapse. First half. Look, this wasn't one of those classic Falcons collapse. There was no 28-3 lead to relish in our memories and play on our false sense of security. No, this was a game where the Falcons were playing catch up from the jump, only to trip just before the finish line. The trouble starting on the first drive. The Patriots and their quarterback Drake May took the field and moved with terrifying ease. They marched 75 yards in 10 plays, ending what May hit DeMario Douglas for a 16-yard touchdown. The Falcons defense looked a step behind, couldn't get off the field. And right away, you got that sinking feeling that we're back to the typical Falcons. But after a quick Falcon touchdown tied it up, the Patriots went right back to work. Their second touchdown drive was just a methodical dismantling of the Atlanta defense. It was a 12-play, 65-yard grind where New England just owned third down, picking apart the Falcons' coverage. It felt like every time Atlanta was about to get a stop, May would find an open guy. A 3-yard touchdown that capped it all off. And just like that, the Patriots were back in front. But the real backbreaker came late in the second quarter with the Patriots already up 14-7. May launched a deep ball to DeMario Douglas for a 58-yard gain, setting up in Falcon territory. 2 plays later, May found Stephon Diggs for an 11-yard touchdown, and the lead jumped to 21-7. In one half, the Patriots had exposed it all. They were dominating on third down, while the Falcons' offense was completely stuck in the mud. The game was on the verge of being a blowout. Another depressing loss in the Foxborough, a place where Atlanta hasn't won, get this, since 1978. But there was a glimmer of hope. Just when you were ready to change the channel, a spark. The Falcons defense, which had been getting pushed around all day, finally made a game-changing play. With just 32 seconds left in the half, the Patriots had the ball near midfield looking to put the game away. Instead, Falcons edge rusher Jalen Walker came flying in and strip-sacked May, knocking the ball loose. His counterpart, James Pierce Jr., scooped it up and rolled down the field to the Patriots' 6-yard line. It was a massive momentum swinging turnover. The offense gifted this absolute golden opportunity and actually cashed in on it. To my surprise, we scored. Because I for sure sat back in my chair and was like, okay, we're just going to get a field goal out of it. That was not my lack of faith in the Falcons, but it's the trend that's been happening. The defense gets us the ball and we don't capitalize on it. But lo and behold, we got a touchdown out of it. 2 plays later, quarterback Michael Penix Jr. hit his star receiver Drake London for a 2-yard touchdown. All of a sudden, a game that felt was over was a one-score contest, 21-14 at the half. That one play from the defense was a lifeline. It felt like the first time all day the Falcons actually had a shot. They survived the first half storm and were somehow right back in the fight. And one thing I can't figure, you talk about 2 of the much anticipated edge rushers on this roster, Jalen Walker, James Pierce Jr. Why don't we have them playing on opposite sides? One on the other side, one on the left, one on the right. Why was now get it? I like the idea of having Jalen Walker lining up like a linebacker. I like that idea. But if he's an edge rusher, or if he can play edge rusher, why not try him out on the other side opposite James Pierce? I mean, I get it. You got Arnold Ebiketie. I get it. But now we may have to try it with the loss of Leonard Floyd. We may have to try it. He may become a starter now. But that energy that we ended the first half with, we carried it on into the second half. The third quarter was a slugfest, but the defense was flying around, getting pressure on May and forcing punts. The offense wasn't exactly setting the world on fire, but they did get enough. Did just enough, getting a 38-yard field goal from Parker Romo early in the fourth to cut the lead to 24-17. The comeback was on, or so we thought. You could feel the tide turning as the Patriots offense stalled. Atlanta just needed one more solid play to tie the game, and they got it. We figured that if the defense keep playing the way that they are or they were, that the offense will at some point capitalize from the rewards of the defense. But that's just when the unraveling started. With under 10 minutes to go and trailing by 7, Penix and the offense took the field for the biggest drive of the day. He hit Drake London for a huge 40-yard gain down the sideline, a spectacular play that put Atlanta deep in enemy territory. The drive was a grinder. The Falcons even converted a massive 4th down inside the red zone to keep the hope alive. It all led to this 4th and goal from an 8-yard line with just 4:40 on the clock. Penix dropped back, saw his guy, and threw a jump ball to the corner. Drake London went airborne, snatched the ball with incredible concentration, and dragged his feet for the touchdown. It was clutch. It was brilliant. The score was 24-23. The comeback was complete. All they needed was a simple extra point to tie it. And then the collapse. Parker Romo, the kicker, stepped in for the most automatic play in football, a kick to tie the game, a kick to make the comeback real. The extra point. The snap, good. The hold, good. The kick is up, and it's wide right. You could hear the collective groan from the Falcons everywhere. The game wasn't tied. The entire comeback, all that effort, fell apart by just a few inches. But it still wasn't over. The defense, to their credit, did their job again, forcing a quick 3 and out and giving the offense the ball back with 3:30 to play and a shot at redemption. This was it. One final chance. Penix drove the offense near midfield, crossing into the Patriots' territory. They were getting close to the field goal range with a chance to win it outright. And then came the final self-inflicted wound. Penix, under pressure, was flagged for intentional grounding. It was a catastrophic penalty that killed the drive and forced a punt. That was the final nail. The Patriots got the ball back. May hit Hunter for a key 3rd down, and they ran the clock out, sealing the 24-23 victory. And guys, to make matters worse, we continue being compounded by multiple and very significant in-game injuries, particularly along the offensive line and defensive line. The loss of 2 starting offensive linemen has raised concern that the team leads into the second half of the season. But here's the breakdown of the notable injuries that we sustained during the game. Now, we're already without Caleb McGarry, right? but the most damaging sequence of events was the loss of both our starting guards. Matthew Bergeron left early in the first quarter with an apparent ankle injury. His replacement, Cal Hinton, finished the majority of the game at left guard. The situation worsened late in the fourth quarter when All-Pro Chris Lindstrom went down with a lower body injury, forcing rookie Javon Gwynn into the game for the Falcons' final offensive possession. Like I said, with right tackle Michaela McGarry already lost for the season, the new injuries to Bergeron and Lindstrom create an immediate and significant challenge for the Atlanta Falcons' already struggling offensive unit. And to make matters worse, we are out of Divine Diablo. And then this game, we lose veteran pass rusher Leonard Floyd. He left with a hamstring issue in the second quarter. Floyd absence limited the defensive rotation and pass rushing ability for the remainder of the game. Now, the pregame note that they were listed as questionable, but we got back Jesse Bates, who was listed as questionable. Jalen Walker, who was listed as questionable, both played. Walker came in and notably recorded a strip sack on Drake May just before the half, which led to a Falcons touchdown. But you talking about a truly soul-crushing loss. Not just players, but the game. If you're a Falcon fan and you're still watching, I applaud your strength. What do you think about the biggest reason for this loss? What do you think contributed to be the biggest reason for this loss? The slow defensive start, that missed kick, or the final intentional grounding penalty? Let me know what you guys think in the comments. And if you have appreciated this deep, slightly painful breakdown of the game, make sure to hit the subscribe button and turn on notifications so you never miss another one. But I'm going to talk about this intentional grounding. You know, we talk about Raheem Morris, right? And like I said, you do not want to miss the next video that I have coming out about Raheem Morris. So stay tuned for that one. So hit that notification bell so that you don't miss it. As a head coach, you have a weighted responsibility, right, to get your team ready and in position for the next game or any game, right? So quarterback 101, of course, this falls on Penix as well. And we cannot even say he's a rookie. He's still learning. But that intentional grounding penalty, guys, you learn there are very few instances, if any, where you want to get an intentional grounding, right? Now, Penix is looking in front of him. Now, I can see if he threw that ball to the left where Bijan was standing, right? I can see if he had did that, but he was looking straight ahead of him. He saw that he had nobody in the vicinity. Nobody. All he had around him was the opposing team defensive lineman, the Patriots defensive lineman, and our own offensive lineman. So why on earth would you throw that ball at the feet of the lineman? There was nobody else in the vicinity except him and Bijan. And Bijan was off to the left. So why? Situational preparedness, or I say their lack of, from your head coach. Now, if this is on Raheem, or should I say if this is on Penix, then it's Penix's mistake. I know he probably was thinking, stop the clock, hurry up and stop the clock. But you had already completed your 5-step drop. So why throw the ball at the feet of your lineman? It doesn't make sense. It's almost done, like I said, like it was intentional. The missed kick, it is what it is. But if you have a kicker on your team that can't kick a 40, 45-yard field goal, you don't need to have him. And we have to find better ways of drawing or getting ready for a game besides letting the opposing team putting our backs up against the wall. because it seems like that's the only time we like really want to step up and play. We're falling prey to the other teams and their mentality, or shall I say their game plan. We need to stop playing down to the competition. So it's up to Raheem Morris to get his team in that mindset. Get teams to playing to your game. But in the end, it is so easy to point to one single play. The missed extra point is the obvious scapegoat. It's the moment that will be replayed on blooper reels forever. But this loss was a team effort. It was a failure of the defense in the first half to get a single stop when it mattered. It was a failure of the offense on that final drive where a back-breaking penalty took away any chance of victory. And yes, it was an absolute special team disaster at the worst possible second. This wasn't just one bad play that doomed the Falcons. It was a waterfall of mistakes that showed just how razor thin the margin is between winning and losing in the NFL. 1 point might have been the final margin, but the anatomy of this collapse tells a much deeper, more frustrating story of a team that when the game was on the line, just found another way to lose. Typical Falcons. But guys, that's all I have it on this recap. I don't want to add salt to the wound. But guys, like I said, stay tuned for this next video where I put Raheem Morris in the hot seat. And I'm, for one, I wanted him here. But I think let me just say I realized the errors in my ways. So guys, stay tuned for that video. I think I'm going to name it "Is Raheem Morris the Real Problem for the Falcons?" I think I'm going to name it that one. So stay tuned for that one. I may just open up the floor and do a podcast on that one. I may just go live with that and go with that one and get everybody input. All right, so stay tuned for that. As always, guys, I appreciate everyone joining in. I appreciate all my supporters, my subscribers. You're the reason why I do this wholeheartedly. You are. Because like I said, I just love talking Falcon football, and you guys fuel that. So thank you all once again. If you haven't already subscribed, please go to Atlanta Falcon Fandemic on YouTube, AF_Fandemic on Instagram, AF_Fandemic on Twitter, ATL Fandemic on Instagram, and follow me there as well for even more content. Guys, like I said, thank you so much. Thank you so much. It's all because of you while I do this. And until next time, guys, let's always continue to rise up. Peace.
Yeah. Yeah, it's your boy E-Man. Falcons Fandemic, we on that plan. All the hype in the city, let me break it down. Atlanta Falcons, wear the crown.